What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's Off the Air. In fact, for the first time in a long time, I absolutely whiffed the graphics, and you're going to get to see the change during the intro. But either way, better late than never. We are off the air immediately following NXT. We're here. It's been a long day for everybody, but NXT was excellent, and I've got the best Tuesday night crew in the entire business rolling with me. First out in the DMV, the Tuesday Night Delight himself, Shad, joining me for a second time today. How are you, Shadi?
Glorious. No, I'm on robe on right now, chilling. I'm good, man. It has been a uh double day for me. We got to talk about Monday Night Raw last night, and today we are going to talk about NXT tonight with my good brothers over here. Not the tag team. Don't get us confused. We lit, man. Let's get into it.
I'm with you on that. And it's been a double for me as well. And unfortunately, I'm not saying I went to In-N-Out today, and I would have liked to have gone to In-N-Out today, but that's neither here nor there. As a Southern California guy,
Lucky. I don't even have an in and out.
oh man, it is the best, but no time, no place today. But we've got out in Louisville. Drizzy, stoked to have you. Tuesday night. How are you, my friend?
Good
Who should we
morning,
believe in?
afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. Drizzy is in your vicinity. Hold them twos up.
Absolutely, Drizzy. Let's get into it, man. What an episode of NXT. What a day all around. Let's start with comments, actually. We got a ton. Anthony Manzano already in the comments with a yo. Good to have you, Anthony. He asked a question here about
Yeah.
Brooks Jensen specifically. What type of babyface do you guys want him to be? A white meat babyface like you see with the New Day and John Cena? BA babyface like you saw with Breaker? Or a mixture of ruthless heel and white meat babyface? Because remember when Triple H was the babyface, he wasn't truly a white meat babyface. We get the white meat babyface thing. Okay, and then
I didn't know you was this much of
yeah,
a Brooks Jensen fan, bro.
Coach 23 added brother Anthony, I'd rather have Brooks Jensen, a white meat babyface for NXT. If I have to say white meat babyface in one more comment, I'm kidding.
White meat baby face. Like, man, we were naming it. This is the white meat baby face episode.
Cody is basically doing it on the main roster. Mello and Braun did it, but it didn't work for both. Bobby Batito shouted us out. I don't know what type of
Yeah.
babyface I want him to be. Like a good one, actually. Not even trying to discount the question, but like, I don't
I
know.
I I think I would.
Rootable babyface.
I guess maybe I might lean kind of like a sort of a BA baby face, right? Like a little bit
Yeah.
of an edge to him. I don't know. I haven't. I'll be real with you. I don't think I've dissected the career path and trajectory of the babyface ascension of Brooke Jensen. So
I can't.
I might have to follow back with you on that.
I can't
Yeah.
say I care enough about Brooks Jensen to
Damn.
say
Wow, I was trying to be
I hate to
politically
say it.
correct and not
Like
say that,
personally
Drizzy.
speaking, I don't
can't
want him
give
to
it
get
to him.
tuckered or all tuckered out, or you know what I mean? But
They gave Brooks
yeah.
Jensen a Journey theme song during a non-tape match, so
And I'll and I'll get
they
and
they
I'll
may
go this
have high
far.
hopes for him.
And I'll go this far. He had a great match last week.
He did.
But I think it is a little too early for us to be so okay. What type of? Let's just get out the block. Like we've gotten out of the blocks. Let's get into the sprint a little bit more. Like he had a
The,
great match.
the best way I can answer it is like a rootable babyface, a guy that you would want to root for, right? A
It's something
respectable in a way that it enhances both him and Briggs with that
something
rivalry
that
because
something
that's
that
the
makes you want to book him on TV weekly because he doesn't get that really. So
Yeah,
yeah.
let's start there first.
make him retire.
100%. We've got another comment here from CJ Rich 84. He said, "Hey Dre and everybody, what's going on?" CJ Rich, thank you for tuning
CJ.
in. We've also got Let's Let It Play Out. Also, yeah, if you were trying to tune in on Instagram, if your friends were trying to tune in on Instagram, send them a text message right now. Instagram's not working. We're not live streaming on Instagram on this show. Check us out
Tell
on
them go to
YouTube,
How
tell
Twitch,
about
them go to
YT?
or
YouTube.
X if you can. That would be Awesome. Just before I forget. Now let's get in to our first topic though. Let's talk about the end of tonight's NXT. Let's talk about Dragunov, let's talk about Mello, and let's talk about Tony D
Oh,
inserting himself into the world title picture like it's his job, because it is his job. I love it. Oak Park, Illinois. Shout out Chicago. Let's
What?
go.
He
TD.
he's from Italy. Stop.
you're
He's
like,
not from Illinois.
ooh.
All I know is he went to University of Buffalo and he's from Illinois, but he's Italian. Some of the best Italians. Al Capone,
S-
Illinois.
Stop lying, Clark.
Gives you a history lesson on John Dillinger, also Illinois. Some of the best Italian gangsters from
God,
Illinois.
what's his real name like?
It's
Like
Tony D.
Tony
Todd?
Day, Tony D'Angelo,
He's
Anthony D'Angelo. That's what he is.
Anthony, yeah, probably Antonio D'Angelo,
Yeah,
honestly, if
there
you
we go.
think
Yeah,
about it, almost for sure.
Antonio.
Antonio D'Angelo,
Like, mwah.
from the block. He's from the north side,
Watch
but
him really be like Swedish in real life, but it's all good.
I actually do think he is really Italian.
Nah, I'm
Not,
messing. I think he is.
on a side note, not that we're trying to break down Tony D's ethnicity, but he is inserted into the NXT World Title picture. And honestly, I was hyped about that. I love it. And I don't really understand how it went from, okay, Ava's the GM, then the security's paid off, and then she had this plan, but then Tony D paid off the security, and then maybe she talked to Tony D, and then all of a sudden it was Dragunov's choice.
So it was a conversation was had behind the scenes. Tony and Ava had a conversation, and it like if you come up with if you draw this contract up, and Ilya agrees, then let me get this match. And Ilya's like, you know what? It sounds good. Let's do it.
I dig it.
He's just greasing the wheels a little bit. That's all it was. She doesn't need money. She just needs opportunity to make great decisions. And
She
this was
don't
a
need money.
great
Her
decision.
daddy got enough
No.
of that.
Yeah, that's the
Like she makes enough. Like The Rock makes enough money that every time he raises his eyebrow, that's an instant million.
Exactly.
the only complaint I have though is I would love for her reaction to have been like, you know what? All of you shut up. Here's what's happening. We'll have the number one contenders match. The best offer I've gotten is from Tony D'Angelo. And just establish some sort of authority. Because it really felt like authority wise, it was Tony D running the show, and then it was Dragunov though. That's my only because I love the segment though.
I can see where you're coming from with that. You feel like she should have been a little bit more assertive with it.
Right. Like I had no issue with the segment entertainment wise, but I just, for example, like there were other segments throughout the night where we looked at them and we're like, man, that's leading directly to something else.
Yeah.
Right? Like and especially during the first hour when you and I were watching Drizzy, we were like, man, there's a lot of matches, but every segment between the matches is
with money
advancing something.
one.
It was perfect. And so for then the sort of the main event slot segment to be the contract signing, and it's not that Ava wasn't good on the signing or good on the microphone. I just felt like she was overshadowed, and then for it to be Dragunov's choice, right, as opposed to her call on what the scoop is for Roadblock, that was odd to me, right? Why does your champion get to call? Why is he booking matches?
Because everybody doesn't get the championship set up. You see on SmackDown, Roman Reigns gets the tribal chief set up. At NXT, Ilya gets the championship set up.
Yeah.
Like everybody can't do that. Can't do it like that. Seth doesn't get that.
No.
Seth doesn't get the championship set up.
Ilya he wasn't like, oh, I'll take him. Like that was like.
I mean, it also works in a sense because Carmelo Hayes is kind of a sneaky heel, and it's kind of a way to get one up on the heel and whatnot. Like, I don't have issues with that being the build up for it and whatnot, but I don't disagree with your point. I don't know. She's not really hitting for me as the authority figure and general manager. She don't really do a whole lot.
I don't give it a. I don't fault her for it because in NXT, that GM doesn't really have a big job because a lot of the stuff is month to month. You know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like when you get to like the stand and deliver match, you know we're gonna have a number one contender. That might be the most work that the NXT GM normally does. How many times do we go months without seeing William Regal? And then he'll show up in November,
So true.
War Games, and
I
that's
War
love.
it. And then
games.
you
Well,
don't see him again
I
until the
like
build to
Regal
that.
towards the end of his
Yeah,
GM
listen, he wasn't. Listen, not
portion.
saying that they were bad. It's just that I don't think that the NXT GM role calls for a lot of extra assertive. You're not having to step in a whole lot. And at
Right.
that, I think she caters more to the women because she is a woman. So she feels like she has to be a little bit more involved in that. Where this one and Tony made a really good call. The last 8 months, it has been nothing but mellow trick Ilya.
It's true.
Let's inject some new blood in there. We might have got what we got a Corbin sighting here. We got a
Got
who
a
else?
little bit of breaker.
We had a breaker. I feel like was there another title match?
Got a little bit of this,
Yeah,
little
it's like
bit
it's
of
not a
that,
lot.
but it was
It
mostly
wasn't a whole lot, but it's mostly Mellow Trick
mellow trick.
and Ilya. So
Yeah,
makes a good point.
It,
And
it,
I think she just like, you know what? This is one less decision I gotta make. Okay.
I hear it. I hear it. Coach 23 in the comments said exert her power. And then he said she needs to be more of a GM like Stephanie than AJ Lee. Sorry, AJ. I think somewhere between the two, find her own space there. But I just, for this particular segment, was like, look, also, Melon Playground 1678, happy face added. By the way, I'm here. It's good to have you, Melon Playground. Thank you for tuning in. Mello hired more bodyguards than Paul Heyman,
And
is what
still
Coach
lost
23 added. Ain't that the truth?
I thought they were the
And
same people.
Tony D had him in his pocket.
They had Will Compton as one of them, the dudes from Bussin' and the Boys. Oh man,
Melon Playground also seconds everything Drizzy says. I love that. Anthony Manzano asked me to read his last comment. Okay, well, he says, what happens with the family? States with the family, we don't need to know what is happening with Tony. Let's keep our mouth shut about the family's business. I mean, I think we talked about this actually off the air. This is a quick one to sum up. I truly believe that they'll all be singles competitors. Drizzy was actually, I think, Shot was that one of you guys was saying it. Drizzy
Drizzy
said that.
said that.
Yeah, I believe it'll be split off into singles competitors
I mean,
when we get to that point.
if anything, you could have Luca Fino, Crucifino, whatever his name is,
yeah, Crucifino get
Crucifino and Stacks
uh
is a tag team if you want to put them in it. I guess that could be
like
a
they got
potential tag team.
they run the potential of holding a lot of belts. Like,
Yes.
and now
Yeah,
that we're gonna talk about it a little bit later, you could definitely see Crucifino, who had a great showing tonight in a singles match in a singles title contention.
Oh, I think so, almost for sure. I think without question on that one. Like, why not? We've got another comment here too, a classic one here from 8Fam Gaming. Drizzy Dre, I'm ready for the rest of the tour. His Kevin Hart voice. I'm sorry, I don't have a good Kevin Hart voice. That's on me, but monster shout out there. Okay, let's talk about our next one here. Let's talk about the big old brawl in the middle of the show. Not the middle of the show, the beginning of the show.
start of the show.
The start of the show. In the show, it happened on the show, right? We were there.
Mhm.
The entire tag division targets the two slimy veterans that made their return merely a week ago, Gallows and Anderson, something I was excited about because they're two really talented dudes. Sometimes it feels like don't care about reaching their full potential. This is a space where they can operate creatively and put on some of their best work. Jersey, I want to ask you about the whole thing. Tag team division versus Gallows and Anderson, NXT tag belts headed towards Stand and Deliver. Is Gallows and Anderson a part of that conversation? Or is this a broader storyline than that?
I think this may be a broader storyline. I don't think Gallows and Anderson are down there to win the tag titles. It feels more like they're here to just do stuff. Like they're just like, you know what? Like we're just gonna come down, push a couple of guys around, and the tag team division fought back. which is something you really do not see. You get a lot of normally everybody's it's like a crabs in a barrel mindset. Oh, you can't get over me. You can't let. They all kind of unified to stop the bigger threat of the Good Brothers. You got the LWO out of nowhere, which I feel like everybody should also keep that same energy toward them because they're on the main roster. But I guess it's kind of a once you've been in NXT, you're always NXT. Where Gallows and Anderson have never been NXT. They came through. Well, Gallows anyway came through the old OVW FCW territory
He
days.
was fake
So
Kane.
fake Kane. He was Festus.
Festus. Festus.
Yes, yes, we're Festus. Then we got in 2023 we have a Festus. Uh,
Festus sighting.
yeah, yes, but I think it's maybe a bigger story. I kind of thought the visuals that have been showing for the last few weeks were going to lead to something with the Good Brothers. I have no idea now after seeing what happened, but it does look like it's everybody against the Good Brothers. We don't want the Good Brothers. We don't want another main roster tag team coming down and taking our belts to the main roster. We want our belts for NXT. That's what it looks like.
I think so too. I like that. I like that entire call. It is wild to me still that Luke Gallows is arguably 1A, 1B as far as bald gimmicks next to Festus for him. No, I'm kidding. I actually think Gallows is awesome as an in-ring talent, and he's just hilarious in general.
Yes.
We've got a bunch of comments here before I toss this one to you or over to you, Shad. Bobby Petito with all things are happening in the NXT tag division. Anthony Manzano added they're leaving breadcrumbs, setting up a future feud with Oba, and I think he meant Ilya Dragunov, but
Yeah.
I don't know about that. 8fam Gaming agreed on broader storyline. I think I'm in agreement with that as well. Drizzy, you broke that down perfectly. Coach 23 added the Good Brothers could dethrone the Wolf Dogs. I think so too. I think if anyone could, it'd be nice to have a veteran group do it, especially given the call up for Breaker. And I think there's kind of an inevitable call up with Breaker as far as Corbin's concerned. I think they need to stay together a little longer, even on the main roster, just to get Breaker used to the waters up on
Like
that.
sending them up with a veteran to like navigate everything.
Yeah, that to me makes a ton of
You're
sense.
your accountability buddy.
His accountability buddy, exactly. And Bobby Petito added, great shout out, Bobby, as always. Luke Gallows was in CM Punk's group too.
He
Unbelievable, man. You
was.
look at his resume,
We
just a wild one.
getting a straight edge society reference too. Jesus Christ.
Shot. I gotta ask you though, same question on this. What's the scoop here? Why are they down here? Because they're clearly not hanging with AJ, like was the original plan. I think the original club, the OC is whatever we want to call them. I
Mm-hmm.
think the OC and I think Orange County, Kristen Cavallari, Lauren Conrad, but that's neither here nor there. I always thought that was a little bit of a goofy name, but either way, too sweet. Why are they here? What are they doing? And everybody attacking them? Where are we going here, man?
I think they are in NXT to bring life into the tag team division. And I think they're also in NXT to bring life back into them as a tag team. Like we've noticed since they have returned back into the WWE, they haven't really done much. They initially came in, worked a quick program, reuniting with AJ, but we didn't really see too much of them. They were kind of just AJ's cronies, and I think them kind of being out of position with AJ coming into NXT is to use them and utilize them for their potential as a tag team on WWE. And it's refreshing for them. It lets them do something, and I think it's a positive. I think you have a lot of solid tag teams that we saw today that can be in position that are gunning for them. I mean, I like Malik and I like Idris. You saw that we got Chase U, we got Axiom and Nathan Frazier. There's a lot of teams that can work and benefit for them, but I think the end goal is that they are going to be the team to dethrone Braun and Baron Corbin. I think Braun is already on SmackDown. It's inevitable that they have greener pastures for him to do on the main roster and be a singles star over there. I think Gallows and Anderson being able to be the veteran tag team, being a tag team with notoriety and namesake, going against them at Stand and Deliver Mania weekend is beneficial. It lets Braun and Baron leave in saving grace. If you do want to bring them up together on the main roster, that's fine. Maybe they could be potential rivals on the main roster. Who knows? But I think it's going to be the send off format, Stand and Deliver. And I think we will see Gallows and Anderson be the new NXT tag champs. What goes on from there? They may have a reign that lasts. It could be a while, it could be a short time frame, but I don't think it hurts them. I mean, it's one of those cases. If you ain't really doing anything on the main roster, let them kind of chill on NXT, do their thing over there, kind of get a footing and get uh, fresh and back to the viewers. So I think that's what's going to happen.
I agree too. I think it makes sense too for them to have a tag reign down here. It's interesting. It's not that long ago the Good Brothers were walking Kenny Omega out to face Christian Cage as a babyface in the main event of All Out in a scenario where both Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson made their AEW debuts. That was not that long ago.
Now that was a couple years ago,
It's
so
freaky.
they go where the money at, bro. I
This
mean,
is
they man of
also
business.
this is also another way to spread the virus that is Bullet Club. Bullet Club has not touched NXT until now.
One of the best comments we've seen yet. Coach 23, always friend of the show with best guests. They're hanging out a bit in NXT for an eventual reunion with Finn Balor for a version of the Judgment Day or another type of club that rhymes with mullet. I love that. The mullet club. That's golden. Shout out Coach 23. Thank you as always. And then Bobby Petito added it. How about Wolfgang and Mark Coffey versus Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson in the future? I got no issue with that.
That's a
that'd be a good match.
It's a tag match worth booking. Talk to me, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and it, I think
he cooking.
NXT is a show that actually cares about their tag team division. So
It's
I think it
true.
works out. And I mean, respect to Gallows and Anderson. They're vets in this wrestling thing, but they're not, prone to not want to work with up and coming talent and young talent, and kind of create a path for them in that way. So I mean, salute to them, man.
Dude, I gotta come clean. I come on Wrestling Republic YouTube about 7 days a week, and I complain about tag divisions for like 6 of them, except for Tuesday nights. It's been like 6 months now, and the NXT tag division is NXT women's division, both. Shawn Michaels, whatever you're doing,
Keep it up, buddy.
keep it up, man. Like it works, because even the stuff that doesn't fully land makes sense. It all adds up. It's what we're asking for. And there's surprises. It's not always predictable. It's not always, I thought by now we'd get Trick Mello doing the exact same Sean and Tripp storyline. That's not what we got. It's better.
Mm-hmm.
And like maybe some people will complain and drag it
So,
out, but that's not the deal.
surprises, you say, huh? I think there was a surprise today.
That is a perfect segue, Shad. Speaking of surprises, not Ty Dillinger, Sean Spears isn't back in NXT, debuts in NXT. We might remember him as Ty Dillinger, but that is not what we got tonight. We got the chairman. We got the chairman.
Presentation and all, brother. Dark,
Oh,
pitch black with the chair, all of that.
Shad, talk to me about the return of Spears. What's the plan here?
Wait. First, before we do that,
Before.
you know what today is? It's Tatum Tuesday, man.
It's Tatum
We got to
Tuesday.
my girl got rewarded today. Salute to her. They are going to have a tag team title match next week. Tatum Paxley deserves everything that's positive in this world. She deserves all the feathers that she needs to have from Lyra, and I'm so happy for her.
Oscar's gonna kill you.
Oscar's not doing anything. Oscar better not harm her.
Oscar's gonna kick her normal.
Oh no, she's normal. She's a good friend. Look,
She
man, we could all use a friend like her in this world. You
she
know.
crawls through the audience for her entrance. There's like a whole ramp. She crawls through the audience, not walk, crawls.
Hey man, Tatum Tuesday. She made the entire show. But anyways, back to what you were saying.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, I mean, obviously, before Mr. Ridge Holland rudely interrupts a beautiful moment, uh, he cuts this passionate promo talking about all the apologies he has for ruining everything as us as wrestling fans, and the person that saves the day, the man who does stuff for the greater good, comes out. Chair shot to the back, the lights turn pitch black. It is none other than Mr. Sean Spears. And I'll be completely honest with you, bro. I was utterly surprised by this. I know we've been here rumblings and stuff. We got all the lettering and promo that we've seen these last few weeks. We're saying, is it Okada? Heavens no, we don't need Okada on NXT. That ruins everything that Tiffany Stratton did good for this promotion.
No Kata.
Uh yeah,
Sir, you
no
are
Kata at all. Thank
we are
goodness.
at this show is gone off the rails.
Thank goodness
Sorry,
it's
that
not
What
escalated
in
Okada.
the
so quickly.
world?
Yes. Nah.
Ooh.
Nah, but it's Sean Spears, man. And it's Sean Spears. It's not Ty Dillinger. And that's what caught me by surprise. The presentation is exactly what we see in AEW, man. That same pitch black with the chair. It comes in with that. And he hits him with the chair and he cuts a little promo outside. How I feel about it, I'm excited, man. I feel like that's a guy who didn't get an opportunity of consistent booking on AEW, but was very talented and was doing great stuff. I love the chairman gimmick. I love his entrance in AEW where it comes out in black and he's just sitting on the chair. Like I always thought that was good. I think he's a great worker. I think he's a great character. He's done great in NXT previously. And I think this is a good opportunity to him for him to be reintroduced as somebody else, something that's more of his creation, and it adds a good vet onto the roster where you can mix it up in that North American division, NXT title division, whatever it may be. So I'm excited for him. I'm happy for him. I'll be real with you. I was way more excited to see Sean Spears than I was seeing Brian Pillman Jr. slash Lexus King. But Cody Rhodes, man, you bringing in these AW signings onto the WWE roster is kind of crazy. We got what, including him, four, five with Punk, right?
Oh
Punk,
yeah.
Jade, Sean Spears, Lexus King. Hey man, the more may
It's
come, man. The more may come.
it's a lot. Although I mean, Lexus King is speaking of like O for
All right.
is it? It's
So
O
I
for a
have
lot.
okay, so I have a theory.
Yes.
Lexus King is fitting into a bubble that was once inhabited by somebody like a Ty Dillinger, by a Elias. Like they're not hitting for us. I'll say Elias was a lot more of a miss in NXT than he was in like Elias, Boogs. They were more of a miss in NXT than they were on the main roster. There are just some things that work better on the main roster that do not fit in NXT. And I'm starting to think that might be the thing for Lexus King. We don't see the appeal, but he keeps on getting prominent spots. He has a fire entrance. His in ring work isn't bad. It's just the character that's just not. It's not hitting for us. So I'm starting to think he's about to be in that bubble with them, with the Eliases, Rick Boogs, Ty Dillinger to a lesser extent because Ty, he wasn't hitting at first, but toward the end of his NXT run, he started clicking. But I don't. I'm thinking he's just not built for NXT, but perfect for main roster.
That makes a lot of sense. And hey, Brian Pillman, the loose cannon. This is one thing I was going to mention. The loose cannon, senior, came from bad booking.
You know?
So Lexus King looks as much like the loose cannon character as he has in his career, right? As Brian Pillman Jr. in AEW had the mullet, just like the Hollywood Blondes. But when the loose cannon happened, it happened because Pillman was getting buried for no reason. And it didn't make sense.
Ooh,
And
if he
I'm wondering
if he's
I'm
following that,
wondering if there's something on the back end where I'm going to wake up one day and go, dang it, I missed all of it. Like, that's my only thing. That's my only caveat on this whole storyline is I look at it and I'm like, man, he looks the most like the loose cannon he ever has in his career. And the loose cannon just kept getting messed around. And then remember, he grabbed Bobby Heenan's head.
Yep.
Bobby Heenan had the surgically
Yeah,
repaired
he
neck.
did.
Bobby Heenan says the F word on air. Rest is history, right? He worked everybody. I'm not saying that's the same deal, but it's a story that can be told once again in a way that makes sense here. And that is my hope. That's my hope for what comes out of this. Because so far, I've just not seen the juice when it comes to Lexus King.
Yeah, he's looking like people having Bronny James expectations for him. I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Yeah,
The way Clark broke that down, and like I said, it's not a very well known storyline because Pillman
Right.
had passed away so early in it. So
I mean, this is back in the 90s, and the way it started was from bad booking in WCW. And remember, he called Kevin Sullivan Booker Man
Booker
yeah.
to his face on live TV. Then he worked Bischoff and McMahon and Taman all against each other. Nobody will ever do that again in wrestling. I'm not asking that of Lexus King either, right? Like, I don't think that's possible. But what made the loose cannon character, what drove him nuts, was being put in bad spots. And I'm just wondering if that's what we're leading to, because the look is so similar is the only hint. Also, I guess second generation being his son helps.
Yeah, my only thing
but
is I don't know if he has that character in him to make it like stick or get people invested in it. That's my only fear. I feel like he's just not that interesting of a as a character in regards to how he cuts promos and
see,
all that.
Shad, that's the craziest part, is that's what people thought of Senior. And then he went crazy, and he was the most fascinating. He was the most fascinating character. And to this day, right, there's debate. He passed away so young. There's debate about how legit some of the stuff happened was. He
That's
took
true.
matters into his own hands. If you can blur that line in a more controlled environment on NXT right now, I think I'll be entertained. And if that's the direction we're leading to, that's what I'm at least rooting for Lexus King's sake, and as a huge fan of Pillman Senior. Is one
Senior,
of my
yeah.
favorite as a kid. I was obsessed with the character because I was the kid that, whatever. I was the idiot kid that went to elementary school and told everybody, like, you guys think Santa's real? The Tooth Fairy? Woof. Like, I was that D-bag, for lack of a better way to put it, unfortunately. But yeah, no, I was that kid, and so something about that character just was brilliant to me, and you can recapture that.
That weasel, Lexus King, was not on the docket. He just weaseled. That's why he's got a job.
Yeah.
He weaseled his way into this show. We were not talking about this man at all, and he weaseled his way in. Lexus, it's a gift.
It is. I think it's possible, man. I sincerely do think it's possible.
Justice for Von Wagner. He should be being talked about. He won a match
He
tonight.
should.
His dad was a wrestler.
Von Wagner won a match, and we're talking about Lexus King.
There's just one other person I care less about Lexus King, and it's the guy he lost to today. So
that's a good point. Let's talk about Luca. Yeah, I said this was the golf booking of matches. It was who's the most under.
Yeah.
But Luca Cursifino with the debut tonight.
Luka Doncic
Gonna deeply affect the family. May not re-sign with the Mavericks either. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
Everybody in Dallas right now.
Coach bomb.
No, I'm sorry. I got my Lucas confused. No, but Crispino debuts tonight on NXT. Talk to me about the debut. Is this going to affect the family, guys? Someone tell me.
I think they had some inklings that he may be a potential member of it. This is the first time I've like really paid attention to a match of him. We saw him wrestle in the breakout tournament prior to it, but him and Dijak had a solid bout. I think he's a guy that has a lot of potential. I like his style of wrestling. I think he's got a nice brawling style that can work with the family and kind of how Tony D'Angelo does stuff. And yeah, he shows that he's kind of that crook, right? He's a lawyer, but he's got sneaky ways, even though all lawyers are crooks when you think about it.
Yeah, he's a
But
lawman.
that's neither here or there. But I like it. I think the character is interesting for it, and I think it'd be a nice addition for the family. The main thing that I got out of this match is that we are getting Dijak and Gacy in a God knows what match next week. We're extending that, and this is probably the blow off match next week. And we will talk about that in detail once they have it next week. So tune in next week.
Yeah, I mean, we got Roadblocks next week. It's going to be an awesome show. Drizzy, I got to ask you about the debut, and then we'll get into some comments too because we got plenty of time in the show. But yeah, I mean, like, do
I
you think
think
this is this immediately being inserted into the family storyline?
I think he definitely opened the eyes of the family because he had did a little bit of freelance work. I don't know if anybody knows about maybe a month ago for them, and they kind of it's just he you see him here and there getting steady work, similar to kind of how like smart Mark Sterling in AEW. Luca found work, and I think he opened a lot of eyes with the way that he handled the Dijak situation because legally that is kidnapping. You cannot hold another human being against their will somewhere. And Tony sees that this is somebody who knows how to work the system. And every family needs a lawyer. They need somebody to get them out of trouble when they're in trouble. And I
Yep.
also, and after thinking about this now, this is might possibly be a way that Tony was able to get that contract done so fast. He went and got the lawyer and said, "Hey, I need you to do something for me," and that's what happened. In ring wise, Luca looks really good.
He does.
He didn't get to show too much in the breakout tournament because I think he was in a squash match, but he looked really good in that match. I look forward to seeing him in the ring. It's like he's very intriguing. You got to get rid of the I forgot the People's Court music. Maybe give him something a little bit. Go ahead and let him come back to the family music shit. Forget it. Uh,
I love it.
but yeah, he's like a few little tweaks here and there, but he's really impressive. I'm looking forward to seeing more from Luca.
And he
Uh,
wrestles in DSW dress shoes.
respect.
Just move about
Those
it.
things are slippery.
Move about it.
Yeah.
And they even make the ones now with the sport bottoms, but you mostly get made fun of if you wear them on TV. So
Yeah.
like that's kind of like a
Now
juxtaposition.
he did his numbers today. I think obviously working with Dijak benefits. I love that spot where he hit like the where he just hit. I think he hit like a baseball slide and he kind of just
He
hit
did.
Dijak. He slid like onto the announce table.
Yep.
Eight
That was
fam
smooth.
gaming added, this is definitely gonna affect the family. I totally agree. And then Bobby added, he's a great heel. Should be the lawyer for Chelsea Green too. I think that'd be
Yeah,
hilarious.
Oh, that's how
Chelsea
he's
Green
getting on
needs
the
a
main.
lawyer.
That's exactly how he's getting on the main roster. Like, you know what? I'm calling my lawyer, and next week it's Luca.
Coach 23 in the clutch with I'm going to read 3 comments, not even in order, but this one is great too. If your name is an Italian sounding name, you're in the family. I love that. But this cracked me up. A family needs a consigliere. Outdated Godfather reference. No, trust me, we get that one over on
That's
this show.
exactly what he is.
That is
That is
exactly
exactly it.
what he is. He's a consigliere.
That's
And
so
then we've
funny.
got another one here. The Gacy Dijak straight jacket match, probably at Stand and Deliver. Dude, that could be a
No,
strap
it
match,
is.
straight jacket,
No, they're having
They
a
announced it's the asylum match. Y'all remember
asylum match.
the old Dean Ambrose asylum match? They just call it an asylum match. It's basically a cage with weapons.
I hope they put him at an actual asylum.
You know
Cinematic.
what?
I don't
that
even
might
I
not
care.
think
be that
I
might
think
not be
this
good for
Do it.
them in the
Do
I
it.
think this is these two are able. You can go ahead and put them in NXT's first Hell in a Cell match. They're gonna be in a big arena.
so
It's
so
gonna be
right.
big
Yeah.
enough to hold Hell in a
So
Cell.
yeah, they probably gonna
Give
run.
them the
This is
match.
this is the second match, right?
Yes.
So they got to run 3.
Absolutely. Okay, we also do have our final segment of the evening. I nearly forgot, but did not. Heritage Cup.
Yeah, it's a banger of a match.
The
Dempsey and
metaphor.
Noam Dar, the metaphor.
This
Noam Dar has been putting in great work. Shout out Soul,
I don't know what the symbol of the
my
catch
closest
crew thing
Scottish
is.
friend. Yeah, no, it is.
is
It's
it
a
is
lot
it
of.
is it
It's something like
ah,
that, whatever it is,
It
man.
kind
ah,
of looks like hand slinkies, when they're doing
right.
it. But yeah, it's too much.
It
You
looks lame, but yeah, you're right.
Shot. I've got to ask you about the Heritage Cup. I mean, Noam Dar, pretty dominant. Pretty dominant. Who's what do we do? What do we do? Is there anybody that takes that cup off of him?
Yeah, he lost it today.
I
he
know.
he lost that today, and I think it was the right decision. Salute to Noam Dar. I think he did a lot in regards to bringing the Heritage Cup into the stratosphere of NXT previously in NXT UK. And I think it is a good counterpart to get it off of him. I think Charlie Dempsey is kind of the epitome of technical wrestling and what we do for the Heritage Cup. Interesting, we talked about it during the match as well. Me and Drizzy, where the numbers game worked in the advantage for Dempsey and the Catch Crew, where he got three other guys, and all he had was his main man Mensa. The numbers worked out to his advantage, but I mean, Dempsey looked really good this match in ring wise. Like the first pin was like a crazy style of pin that he hit, getting into it. And the last pin that they were able to get after 1-1, it was the numbers game. So strategically it worked. He's still a heel. It works to his favor. But I think it works for him as a character. I think him being a technical wrestling savant, and just being a young up and coming star, adding that to him makes him look more of a legit threat. I see a lot of potential in this kid, man. I think he could be a main stage person on WWE for years to come. He's Willie Regal's son, man.
He
He
is.
taught that boy well. So I'm excited for him. I'm glad for it. For Noam Dar's sake, hopefully this means a bigger position for him next, right? Like hopefully he gets to be maybe in the North American division or maybe in the NXT division for the title. I'd still continue to use him. I think he has a place in regards to it, and hopefully down the road, once these lovely young ladies are more uh ready for it, I would bring Metaphor to the main roster. So yeah.
100%. And I do have to come clean here, guys. I fully missed this match. We watched NXT together, and my Kansas Jayhawks got down to BYU late in the game. We ended up losing by 8 at home. Completely mortified
Mm.
about it. Got to pick it up. We need McCullers back. I mean, we're one of the best dang teams in the country. Well coached, the whole nine. It was a disaster. And free throws at the end is just woof. Something you just can't have. So I did miss the match, and that's why I, of course, biffed the intro as I tossed it to Shad there. But we've got a new Heritage Cup champion, Drizzy, and it's no longer Noam Dar. So I got to ask you about it. Future of the Heritage Cup, and who's the challenger for WrestleMania weekend when we get to stand and deliver?
That I do not know because now we have a whole new landscape. Charlie Dempsey winning this title resets the entire division now, and that's not a bad thing. We have been in the world of metaphor for I want to say almost a year now, maybe. I feel like he was the last UK Heritage Cup winner, and he's had it for ever since. I think he had a brief loss to was it Tyler Bate maybe or Nathan Frazier, one of the two. But it's
Yes.
for the most part, it's been Noam Dar's Cup, and he's given us some of the better moments of NXT holding that cup. But now I think this is the perfect time for one Charlie Dempsey, new blood, to come in and define it in his own way. And excuse me, and for second now too,
Yep.
we get Noam Dar to hopefully move up to the main event scene. I've been asking for it for months now. I think he will be a perfect challenger for Ilya's world title. I believe they had a bit of a encounter some months ago, and it wasn't a bad match. Now let them really let loose. Also include the bit of metaphor. Maybe we could even get Noam Dar as NXT World Champion. Maybe, maybe not. But definitely, I'm sure. No, I really do believe Noam Dar is ready for the main roster. But metaphor is way too good to just send up now. They need to hone a few more of the skills of Lash and Jakara and maybe get Mensa a few more reps, and then the whole thing as a whole has to go up. They are money. The
Yeah.
entrance from that entrance. Imagine that entrance at a pay per view or at on the SmackDown Raw stage, which is literally a giant screen, and you see those four bodies up there. It's money, and it'd be we're leaving money on the table just sending up one piece at a time, or even breaking it up right now. It's time for metaphor to go ahead and step to the forefront. I said it a few weeks ago. We're entering a new phase. We're getting to the end of the mellow trick Ilya phase, and we're gonna move forward on that. It's like different eras in NXT. This is going to be the beginning of the new phase of NXT.
I totally agree, and I love the take there too. And Bobby Petito even added maybe an NXT wrestler or main roster wrestler against Charlie Dempsey. If
Yeah.
I have a pick, I'm gonna go with Axiom because I watched a lot of NXT UK stuff back in the day with Kobe. Shout out Kobe and A Kid, lamest name in all of pro wrestling, carried half of those Heritage Cup matches and lost a bunch of them. And he was outstanding. We've also got C Moon underscore or C underscore Moon underscore with drip. Glad you brought the drip. Yo, what's going on, man? Thank you for tuning in. And then we've
Give
got
me Cedric Alexander versus Charlie Dempsey for the Heritage
ooh,
Cup. If we doing a main roster
Ooh,
person,
I
he
like
cook,
that.
inject that
he
in my veins,
cooking.
man.
Ooh, you're cooking.
I like
Ooh,
that, Shad. You got a picture?
and if I have to, ooh, Dempsey and maybe Luca.
I like it.
There's rules involved. Lawyers love exploiting rules. So
Yeah.
why not go ahead and Luca and Dempsey for it? Now, granted, I think Dempsey might tie him up as a pretzel because some of the things that they did in that
Yeah.
match, that
That
first
boy
that first pin was amazing.
crazy,
He's
crazy,
nasty grappling wise.
so good.
Serious
But
acumen. You can also tell, I mean, with today's training, and it's interesting because like Regal was a shooter, right?
yeah,
And
Mhm.
that's Dempsey's father and stuff. Regal was a legit shooter.
mm,
And you didn't see that often, especially when it came to like British catch wrestling. Often wrestlers were trained in catch wrestling first and then wrestled. Regal was towards the end of that.
yeah,
So you didn't get a lot of that. It's kind of back now. You see it with Pete Dunne. You see it with a lot of
yeah.
that style, but Dempsey has it where you're looking at a legit could rip one of your limbs off, take it home,
And that's
put it
the
over
wild
his
and that's
fireplace.
the wild thing. He's in a group with a bunch of guys who are trying to learn that, but you have the perfect two teachers with Dempsey and Gulak
You
because
do.
Gulak is also he learned that
Gulak's
later.
nasty. Well,
Gulak learned it later, but
he's
he
also a
also
real life
studied.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt. I
Mhm.
believe,
My
if not
my
black belt,
act
brown belt.
my actual dream match will not happen because he's on a different promotion. I would love to see him versus Daniel Garcia, bro,
Gul-
DG,
Dempsey
or
and
I was even going to say
versus
Saber Jr.
Dempsey.
against either.
DG and Dempsey. Hey, never say never. We got Jordan Grace in the Royal Rumble.
Absolutely. With that, though, that does bring us to the end of the show, guys. It's been a blast. Thank you, everyone that tuned in. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do. We will be back next week, immediately following Roadblock, which we're stoked about. It's going to
Roadblock.
be wicked. Same time, same place, same
Here
channel.
we go, Tatum. Here we go.
Tomorrow, check out the daily broadcast. It's
Oscar's
going to be at
gonna
noon
kill
Pacific,
you.
3 in the East. That's 2 Central. That's actually 1 Mountain Time. That's 8 UK. That's 9 a.m. in Hawaii. Everyone have an excellent Tuesday night, and we'll talk to everybody soon.